Hey. Hey. Hey.
Okay.
Welcome back.
Welcome back to these Two's Dudes. Oh, we actually came up with an official name for the podcast.
Introducing.
Do you remember it?
Two Dudes Tuesdays.
Two Dudes Tuesdays. So we talked about the wording of it, remember? Or I guess the spelling. Is that what we were going for?
Yeah, the spelling with the number 2.
Yeah.
Two Dudes Tuesdays.
Two Dudes Tuesdays. 2 day. So the number 2 dudes.
Tuesdays.
2 Dudes Tuesdays. Okay, cool.
Yeah.
Cool. So that's the official name of the podcast
Official
now.
name.
So we'll have to incorporate that. 2 Dudes Tuesdays. And that, just for those of you who maybe didn't hear, from or listen to one of the first or second podcasts, this is something that me and Zach have been hanging out every Tuesday night for more years than we can remember. Something like 8 or 9 years or something like that. I don't remember. One Tuesday we made a list of all the things that we think would be fun to do on Tuesday nights, and we called that our Two's Do's. And we took that name and gradually have morphed it into 2 Dudes Tuesdays. So every night, or every Tuesday, we still get together. Right now it's Tuesday at 11:34 p.m. We don't get together until the kids are asleep, in order to keep our marriages intact. And that's where we're at. So that's exciting.
This is a momentous occasion.
Yes.
Our 6th episode?
I believe so, yes.
I
believe so.
I think.
And we had our first special guest last week.
That's right.
Levi.
Shout out Levi.
He's fun, dude. I like Levi.
That was a good conversation, yeah.
Yeah.
Impressed with that kid. He's great.
Makes me want to be a jeweler.
Goldsmith. Yeah.
Goldsmith, yeah. Okay, so...
I'm excited about today's topic. We got a good one that you came up with.
Yes.
And you found it through your Instagram feed, I believe?
Yes. I was scanning through the Instagram, and I don't normally listen to gurus.
Especially sad ones.
Sad ones, yes. So I was going through Instagram, and I came upon a short video, super short video, I think it's like 20 seconds, of a man from India by the name of SahdGuru. And that's how you say it, because we looked it up. SahdGuru.
And with the pronunciation guide.
Yes. SahdGuru. He runs a yoga studio and meditation studio, and has for, I don't know, I think it's since the 90s. And he also has a Instagram page called the Shiv Guru.
Yeah, he seems to be some kind of a spiritual leader.
Yeah.
To, whoever's part of the group that he runs and gets together. But we haven't seen him do any yoga yet, but we have seen quite a few quotes and teachings that he's giving. It seems like he's up kind of on a stage, but not in the traditional sense where you'd see like a product release, right, or something like that, like Steve Jobs, big crowd. It's like he's in a studio kind of, and he's talking to a group of people out there. Yeah,
like he's like a spiritual leader, right? I mean, that also says that. It says that on his Instagram page. But he's like 66 years old. Anyway, I saw this video clip, something he was saying. It was really fascinating. I sent it to Zach, and I was like, hey, dude, we should do a podcast on this just because it's so insightful, and it would be a fun topic. So I'm going to go ahead and play it real quick, and then we will discuss. It's really short, 20 seconds. And once again, if you want to go see it or shout out to my man SahdGuru.
SahdGuru in the house.
His Instagram is the Shiv Guru. SHIV Guru. Okay, let's go ahead and play this.
Biggest disease on the planet is people want to be special. If you just come to terms to simply be ordinary as you are, in a way you've already taken a huge spiritual step. that you have come to terms with the nature of your creation, that you're just ordinary. You're not trying to be special. Being special means you're trying to be one up on somebody all the time, which has been taught to you from kindergarten. Are you first or second what? See, when you want to be number one, which is the most special place that people are looking for, what it means is you somewhere enjoy other people's inabilities and sufferings. It's not about you blossoming into your full-fledged life. It is about being one up on somebody all the time. But this is not the nature of life. This is the nature of a poor intellect, a very poor intellect which desperately wants to prove it is special.
Boom. SahdGuru.
Drop the mic, SahdGuru.
Yeah, so anyway, I sent that to Zach and we both really liked it. Doesn't necessarily mean we fully agree with it, but like the general concept was awesome.
Yeah, it was good. There's a lot to take from that. The first phrase, the biggest disease on the planet is everyone wants to be special.
Yeah, but you are not special. That is good, right?
But you're, yeah.
I thought that was an Indian accent, nailed it. Yeah, he's not trying to be rude, like by saying like, "Oh, you're not special," right?
Yeah.
But he's just making a point of the fact that we should be concerned with our personal development, not from the eyes of others, right? But from our own inward-looking, thoughts and actions and mentality, I guess you could say.
Yeah. When you're listening to it too, it almost seems for a second like he's not meaning this, but you almost think, does he just think everyone should be complacent and average and, just kind of out of the box the way you came without really trying to get better? But I don't think that's what he's saying either. I think you hit on the point that is everything you do inspired simply by competition, being the best, being on top, with the comparison to other people, what is it that's driving you and motivating you?
Well, and if he also is a teacher at a yoga and meditation studio, and he's very complacent and happy with where he's at and what he's doing, and so he doesn't have that need to be better than anybody type mentality, right? But as we were talking about this before the podcast, you had said, you had talked about the corporate world, right? And if you're in a corporate position where you want to progress through the stages to become, however high up you want to go, you want to be special and noticed, and you want to be number one on your team. And that way you can progress to the next level, make more money, have more opportunity, learn things. So that's where there's a little bit of uncertainty in how that relates to what he's saying. But the general idea of his message was very solid. But, I'll ask you, okay? Could you have this mentality at your work where you are in a corporate setting and still think that you could succeed or grow like you want to?
And by having the mentality of I should just be ordinary,
Yeah.
or not try to compete with others.
And never put yourself above anybody. You can't be first. You're always trying to fit.
Kind of be your best, or where you're not always trying to.
Yeah, you're not trying to get the attention. Yeah.
Man, so over a decade now in corporate finance, and I can tell you that everywhere you go, you're going to be around those people who are very self-promoting. They know the game and they play it well. And yeah, a lot of times those are the people that end up at the top, right? I think the answer to that question also you have to preface the answer with it's kind of relative to what your goal is, like where you want to be. Because like me personally, I've made a career in corporate finance, but like I've told you this before, I don't think I want to be at the level of a CFO. Like it's not what I want.
You're good with the janitorial level.
I'm good
door greeter,
wiping dust off the shoes of the CFO.
Yeah, there you go.
And opening his door, plugging in his electric vehicle when he gets to the office. Yeah, like just because of the direction I'm heading. And again, it's not just for the sake of being a boss of somebody else, because I already manage people. I've managed people for years. You've managed people for years. I would love to break off and do entrepreneurship. And this is one of the biggest reasons, is because I don't like being in this ultra competitive where we're all on the same team, but without saying it, we're all actually competing against each other. Because it's like the pyramid, right? There's less room at the top. And so when you start to get into these leadership positions, there's less opportunity unless you are that type that is very self-promoting. You put your work in front of the people who can influence that decision to give you a promotion before anyone else, so.
Well, and as a boss, you're looking for that special candidate, right? You're looking for who's standing out and why and what are they doing and, what are those special qualities? Now, if I can find a job where nobody cares what I'm doing, like I've always said, one of my dreams would be to just own an excavating company where it's me and like maybe one other dude. Mm-hmm. And, just excavating would be awesome, right? I don't care who thinks anything about me or what I'm doing, or I just am enjoying it. And that's probably where he's at, right? He's hit that level of, he calls it a level of spirituality, where you're okay with your place in life and what you're doing. And so I think that's something that's good to shoot for, but I just don't see how you could have that mentality inside of the corporate world.
Yeah, so let me turn the table a little bit and ask you, because you've managed a lot of people through the years. When there is that person who is like very clearly, you see them as ambitious. They're ambitious, but they're also kind of tooting their own horn and putting their greatness in front of you. How do you see that? Like, are you kind of looking through the bull crap? Are you thinking like, oh, this person's genuine, they're giving their all? Like, how do you take that?
I think it depends on how well I know them. If I don't know them very well at all, then it's probably annoying, right? Mm. It's like, all right, settle down. Like, instead of being ambitious or impressive, it just comes off as, like try hard or something, right?
Yeah.
Not always, but then if you know them a little bit and you know their character and you can really appreciate the work that they've put in or what they're trying to do, then, well, maybe, in that situation, that is the person that you want by your side or progressing through the company, I definitely have worked with a lot of people who just are hard workers and are just always trying to do their best and just stand out. And those are the people who are moving up. The only time I think people who kind of have this mentality would maybe move up in situations that I've worked in is maybe if they've just been there so long that you're like, hey, we should probably promote this guy, guy, girl, into something, because most of the time they're just kind of there, they're just there and they're never really leading the pack or they're behind the pack. They're just content and they're doing their thing, and maybe for them that's okay. I mean, that's fine, but I think it depends on that specific situation.
Gotcha.
By the way, how much does this make you think of Nacho Libre, where he goes, your muscles are number one?
Yeah, exactly. Exactly. When you said that, I thought that same thing. I hope that Ramses is listening to this podcast.
Ramses, you are number one.
This whole time, he's just been so concerned with being number one.
Number one. Your back is number one.
Ramses muscles are number one. Until Nacho came along, who wasn't about himself. He was doing it for the orphans.
The orphans. And if you haven't seen Nacho Libre, shame on you.
Yeah, and you need to go
Hard
press pause right now, go watch it, and then come back.
Yes. Hey, shouldn't we be saying, and if you like this podcast, hit the like button or subscribe.
Yes, we should.
It'll help us make all of those $0 unsullied by sponsorships. Since 5 weeks ago.
Until B&Z Excavation Company wants to sponsor the podcast.
And then... Or J-Dogs. If J-Dogs wants to sponsor, I'll allow it.
Or any restaurant that knows what we're capable of eating.
Not when Burger King. I never want to go to Burger King again as long as I live.
Yeah, okay.
I hate that place.
That's fair. Also, a place where their main course is a salad. I'll pass on that sponsorship.
Does that exist?
Remember Super Salad?
Yeah. I've been there twice at a company lunch.
There's places like that. Have you been to Aubergine?
Yeah, but I've only had cheese balls. Like the only unhealthy thing on the menu.
A really healthy place that I never crave, but when you have it, you're like, oh yeah, okay, that was pretty good, and it felt wholesome and healthy.
I'm serious. I've only had their cheese balls, and I've been there probably 10 times.
I had a salad. Yeah.
Why don't you just get like a salad or something?
I didn't know they had cheese balls.
Dude, they're good. They're way good.
Like, is it like a cheese curd kind of thing, or is it
like Tucano's like the like it's like a little
like
bread,
a mozzarella?
Yeah, full of cheese.
Okay,
bread on the outside. They're fire, dude.
Pão de queijo.
Dang it! Yeah. I just said they're fire, and I hate that because another adult said it the other day, and I was like, "Well, that's pretty cool." Anyway, okay, so Nacho Libre, awesome. Back to the topic at hand.
If you're always trying to be number one.
Number one. So let's move out of the corporate realm.
Yes.
And the other thing we were talking about, keeping up with the Joneses.
Keeping up with the Joneses, yes. So I think this is a big one. This is the first thing that came to mind for me, and you know I'm pretty passionate on this topic. And I recognize that in a lot of ways I'm on the other extreme of that and trying to be normal when it comes to having things and just accumulating things, because I think both me and my wife are somewhat minimalist. But yeah, just the point came to mind that if you're always trying to be better than somebody else, you're always trying to be special. I feel like a lot of times we try to do that with material things, you know?
Yeah.
Just to be better than somebody else. I don't think, I just bought a truck. I don't think that owning a truck is bad. I wanted a truck. I think I like my truck. It serves a great purpose now that I live in the mountains. But, it cost more money than the Camry I traded in.
What year's that truck?
2018.
Oh, so a little better than mine. What size is the engine? Did you go with the 3.7 or
I don't
3.5 or the 2.7? A little bigger than mine. Oh, okay, interesting.
Actually, I have a piece of paper where I wrote down all the stats of your truck to see how I could one up them on mine. You said you really wanted a white truck, right?
I really wanted white. Yeah,
that's what. Yeah.
Do you have a bed cover?
I don't.
Oh, okay.
Dang it.
Good.
I will tomorrow.
Yeah.
So
did you go with leather?
But yeah, no.
You got cloth? You want cloth?
Yeah, cloth. But yeah, just the point. I don't know. What are your thoughts? What do you think in that regard? Because there's definitely this need to some people will buy a boat just because their neighbor bought a boat and they wanted a boat that's better.
Yeah, and I have two thoughts on that. The first one is what you were saying in the beginning. You can become the opposite of that to where you get so far down, and I don't think you're this way, but people get so snooty about not keeping up with the Joneses that they actually become worse than if they were, just because they're so judgmental of everybody that it's.
And I'll admit I've probably been there, but as I've become more aware of it, I call that reverse pride.
Reverse prideful.
It's
I think if you have... Yeah, go ahead.
You point at prideful people that you perceive as prideful, and you're kind of prideful about their pride.
Yes. No, but I don't, if you have gotten there, it's mostly just probably been in your head. I don't think you're outwardly that way.
I think I'm better than I used to be in that regard. Yeah. Wow. Better than other
prideful.
People.
So that was my one point there. The second point is I live in what I think a lot of people perceive to be the mecca of keeping up with the Joneses in Utah, which is a small town called Draper.
Ah, yes.
Yes. But although there's also Alpine, and there's also up by what's above the U.
Oh, Mill Creek? Is that
Mill Creek?
kind of that area?
Seems like there's a place over
Holiday,
there too that's really
yeah.
So it is prevalent here in Draper, keeping up with the Joneses. I feel like the neighborhood I live in is pretty awesome because I think most people are kind of past that. But I have seen it a lot in this city, and I think it causes problems for a lot of people. I have even seen myself get caught up in it. With a few things just being oh man, one thing I can remember is my grass. I love grass, right? And I love to take care of my grass, and I want my grass to be the best, and so I can get really competitive about that. And if somebody has this cool thing they did with their grass, I want to do that cool thing, and I want mine to be the best. And not because I get a real sense of pride if somebody were to walk by and be like, wow, your grass is amazing. I'm like, oh, thank you. Yes. This little old thing. So that's that. I think that's kind of one of my keeping up with the Joneses. I do have, I don't think I feel that way about a lot of stuff. I don't think that I need to keep up with the Joneses, but also I am pretty bad at spending money. So, so that's definitely a real thing to watch for because it's dangerous. Put your family in a bad place.
Right. And of course you could couple all of that with are you living within your means, right? And the two different topics, which you are, I am. That's something we're proponents of. Yeah, great point. There is. Sorry, did you have another point you wanted to make?
No, those are two. Because
I had kind of a shift.
Yep.
In something that SahdGuru says later in the SahdGuru. He says something along the lines of when you are happy with being ordinary, then you've essentially taken a step in the right direction spiritually. And so that's a good step in the right direction. I think one thing that comes to mind with that is just who we are by nature, in the way that you and I believe this, and likely some other people that are listening, is that our default as humans is we are sons and daughters of God. Right? A supreme being who created us. He's our creator. He created us in his image. And so ordinary, when you're made by a God, that ain't bad.
Yeah.
And so I think that might tie into what SahdGuru is saying in that, ordinary is definitely not a bad thing. It's stepping over other people to become great and special and the best that I think is where we find fault.
Yeah. And I think sometimes that's actually an interesting point now that you say that, because I think sometimes I put myself down and would be considered lucky if I felt ordinary. I'd actually have to lift myself up to be just ordinary. Right, because I feel like everybody else is so much better and I'm way down here, So realizing that the value of being an offspring of God is pretty. That's wise thinking Maybe you too should be a guru.
SahdGuru?
SahdGuru.
No, I love that. That's a great point. I'm definitely there with you. Yeah. There's times when it's so easy. And maybe, doesn't he say something later on? Let's go to the point about where he mentions that it's the nature of a bad intellect to need to be special.
Well, I must have a bad intellect because I didn't really understand any of that.
I think it's open for interpretation.
I think I checked out when he was talking about that, because a bad intellect, I mean, I don't know. What do you think?
So there was, I don't know, this just barely came to mind. We'll see if it works out. There was, I remember in grade school, I think it was like junior high, 7th or 8th grade, there was a health class, and I remember in this health classroom, there was something on the wall that said, it was just a quote on the wall, and it said, in the corner of the room, and I don't even know if everybody saw it, I sat over by it so I would see it every day I'd walk in, and it said, profanity is for those who otherwise lack the intelligence and imagination to otherwise express themselves. And so intellect, right? Profanity, intellect. We all let out a swear here and there, but I always remembered that. I always remembered that the quote was associating foul language with maybe a lack of one's intellectual ability to express themselves in an equally effective manner without using those kinds of words, right? And so when he says it here, I'm thinking, well, if I have trouble seeing myself as good enough and I need to be better than somebody else, it's probably, maybe I'm lacking intellectually. And maybe that goes along with confidence or being sure of who I am and my identity as a child of God or as a father and a husband, all these things that really do. They might be ordinary because there's a lot of us out there, but the way that we go about doing those things is what makes us special without having to step over somebody else.
Yeah, that's me too. That's what I got out of it. That was a good quote. I was actually talking about a bumper sticker that I used to have in my room that said, I may be fat, but you're ugly and I can diet. So that's similar, I guess,
I think that's perfectly applicable.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, one of the other final points that I wanted to make is that there are a few people that I do want to be special for, and that's mainly my kids and my wife and my parents, siblings, things like that. Like, I want my kids to think I'm a special dad. I want them to think that I'm unique and like good to them, and that they feel special because I think they're special. Like in that situation, I'm not sure what SahdGuru would say about that, but like I don't want to just fit in. I want Ashley to think I'm special. And, my parents to think I'm special. Those I care about, and I do want to be special to them. Other people, whatever, but those, yeah, I'm working for that.
Mm-hmm. I agree.
So,
do you ever watch the show Bluey?
No, my kids were older.
It's the greatest show. Like, it's so entertaining.
Didn't it just get canceled?
No, not that I'm aware of.
It was the last season or something?
Oh, they might be wrapping up. I don't know.
Okay.
But there's like over 100 episodes, and they're short, 7 or 8 minutes, and they're fantastic. Like, they always teach something great. They're family oriented. They're fun with the kids. But the dad, his name is Bandit, in that he's like the impossible goal of what it, as a dad, right? Like,
what a good dad should be.
He sets the impossible standard. Basically, like, he doesn't go to work, decides that day because his kids want to play, and so he says, oh yeah, okay, I won't go to work. And then he's like 100% engaged, perfect dad.
One of the magical jobs. Right?
Yeah. And so it's funny because I watched that and I'm like, man, I want to be more fun with my kids. And like, that's a good takeaway. Is it because I want to be better than Bandit? Again, you can't be better
Dude,
than...
you are better than Bandit.
The impossible standard. But, yeah, I totally agree with you. I think there's important things like that. And that's maybe where we would kind of push against what SahdGuru is saying here.
SahdGuru.
But, yeah, I think those important areas of life, like, it's okay to be the best. Because you're not trying to be great for your kids to be better than the dad next door. You know, you're doing it because you love your kids and you want them to feel special.
Yeah, impossible. That's an impossible task. I mean, my kids are going to grow up mad at me for something, right? You know, but in the end, I do want to be considered special for them. Mm-hmm. Well, I think that's our time. But I like this. I like picking some subject or topic from... You know, I mean, SahdGuru, we are not of the same faith by any means, and I don't know him from any other random person on Instagram. He's obviously very popular with this video having 147,000 likes, but it's interesting insight and good insight. So
more to come,
and more visitors. I like visitors.
Yeah.
So if you're listening to this, Mom,
hi Mom,
and you do something interesting that might be appealing, or have an interesting story, or something, I don't know, that might be appealing to the target audience of ours, then reach out to us. We'd love to discuss you coming on this super special show. With all this special equipment.
We're holding these little lapel mics right now.
Yeah.
That's how we've been recording every single episode. Yeah, also, if you come across something in your Instagram feed or your social media feed, or there's something that you had in mind, a quote from a discourse or a talk or something, we would love to discuss it.
Dude, we're going to do, as soon as this is over, we are going to start a new Instagram called this is going to be the number 2 Dudes Tuesdays. So it's at 2 Dudes plural Tuesdays. Are we going to make Tuesdays plural? 2 Dudes.
We hang out every
Tuesdays.
Tuesday. Yeah,
okay.
Tuesdays.
So it'll be at and then 2 Dudes Tuesdays, all one word. Hopefully it's available. Should be. And then we'll post this video. And then there you can make comments. You can share videos with us. You can do whatever you want.
Awesome.
That's right.
Also, update on the YouTube channel.
Well,
it's coming soon.
It is
right?
coming, yeah. We'd like to one day get into video, actually like filming these. But we want to make sure that it's something that people care to listen to first. Because if we don't have any listeners or followers, then... Mm-hmm. This is all moo, like a cow's opinion. It's moo.
Then it is what we originally set out to have it be, and it's fun for you and me to just talk about stuff.
Yeah, and we can still do video if we want to, but it's going to be iPhone video because I'm not finding a camera.
Each video will have 4 views: you, me, and our moms.
Yeah. And one of my daughter's soccer team friends, she really likes it too. She listened to it in the car one time on the way home from soccer, and she's like, I like this.
Nice.
Yeah.
5 views?
5 views. Okay, so in case we don't see you again, good afternoon, good evening, and good night.